some of the April Fool's changes in Overwatch 2 might end up sticking around. No pun intended. I have 10 of them right here. Let's have a look. April Fool's event is back in Overwatch 2, and it has been a lot of fun. Unless the enemy team has an Echo or a Wrecking Ball. What were they thinking? Overall, there's a lot of goofy stuff in there, like Hanzo riding Orisa, or the Reinhardt that just keeps charging indefinitely. But per usual, there are a few changes in there that smell rather sus. Last year's April Fool's event, the Mirrorwatch event, and the Halloween event were the reasons that I was personally so convinced that they were working on some type of talent system. Turns out, I was right. And this time around, I think that they're testing some of the perks they want to add, or maybe some stuff for Stadium that is releasing next season. Because there's actually quite a few balanced options in there. That is, if you take perks into account. It wouldn't work in the old game. Now, I want to list about 10 of them, might be a little more. But I think these would make some great perks or talents in Stadium. And I'm going to run over them in order as they were in the patch notes. Just to keep it plain and simple. Because that's what I do. Keep things plain and simple. Okay, we're starting out with D.Va. I know, overall D.Va is extremely silly. She has the small mech, the tiny voice, and you can basically sneeze her to death when she demechs. It's silly. You do this and she's gone. But there's one change that I think might make a fun perk, and that is that she can halt her mech during her ultimate. She can send it off and just make it stop. And I know, that kind of sounds like it would be easy mode, which she might not appreciate. But this isn't 2016 anymore. These days, it is getting rather hard to get 2 or even a 3k with her mech. And that's because we all got used to it. We know where to run and how to hide. So giving her a little more control over her exploding mech might actually help out. That's a perk. Orisa. I know what you're thinking, but look, there's one thing that stood out for me. Sure, you have a Hanzo riding Orisa. That doesn't really sound like a perk you would necessarily want. Well, maybe, but it wouldn't work. What stood out for me, however, was that Hanzo on top of Orisa looked just as good as you would expect it to look for a game mode that is just going to stick around for 2 weeks. Good enough. It's not convincing, but you get the gist of it. They're not going to spend all these resources to make a saddle for Hanzo and to change his animations like Hanzo is really riding Orisa, which is about the weirdest sentence I've said today. It's still early. But when it comes to her new javelin, that actually comes with an effect. Now, it might be something that they repurposed and kind of changed a little bit, but still, they put in effort. And that might be because this is going to pop up as a new perk or in Stadium. Maybe. So in other words, spinning her javelin will pull enemies in. It kind of makes sense if you look at her ultimate, it does the same thing. Sigma. In the normal game, Sigma has a perk for kinetic grasp that basically helps him to lower the cooldown on his rock. For every bullet that is shot in his kinetic grasp, he'll get a bit time of that cooldown. I love that perk. I use it. But making kinetic grasp actually reflect the projectiles could be a good alternative. Maybe something they can add in Stadium. So keep that one around. Winston. Having that big old goon just smack down for extra damage makes a lot of sense. It has that whole Super Mario Donkey Kong vibe to it. I like it. I have to be honest though, I haven't tried it myself. I've only seen it in the patch notes. I rarely play Winston, so if you have tried it, let me know in the comments. Is that a good one? I think we should keep it. And same goes for Batista's jump. He also does kind of a similar thing. Smackdown damage. I like the sound of that. Echo. Now, like I said earlier, Echo is a pain in the ass in this game mode. Now, seriously, I had a game this morning where I basically could not see anything because my camera was constantly stuck with sticky bombs. I kept hearing the sound throughout the whole day. I might have some PTSD. However, I do see some potential for perks in her April Fool's kit. For one, the indefinite flight. Maybe not as a perk, but in Stadium, definitely. And you might think that she's going to be more difficult to deal with when she has indefinite flight. But in the April Fool's mode, because of the sticky bomb, she doesn't have to kind of come down. If she has the tri-shot, oh, that has a more limited range and it kind of spreads. So she would have to come in closer. On top of that, her beam also requires her to come closer. And that is the second perk I see in there, where it does more damage on targets above 50 health instead of below, could also be an interesting thing for Stadium. Now, while we're talking about taking down Echo, Farah. I don't care about all the backdraft stuff. I don't think that really works out. The air-to-air buff, where she does more damage on targets that are flying themselves, that would be a good way to deal with Echo. Could be a nice talent. Sombra. Now, this is another one where I'm not fully sold on the concept, but I think it has potential. See, anytime she hacks a target, she'll add a stack of a buff that basically lets her move faster and gives her a bigger clip for her gun. And I've seen Sombras take advantage of the speed buff. They zip around that map a little faster than they usually do. However, I kind of fear that higher level Sombras will not get the same benefit out of that perk, because they usually are better at positioning and repositioning. But that's just the thing with perks, you don't need to pick them. You pick them according to your own playstyle. And I do think Sombra can use a few different perks. So maybe. Brigitte. Oh boy. I'm such a big fan of the shield throw. It's genius. It is not super easy to pull off. It does require some practice. It does require some aim. But when you do, it feels so impactful. You throw your shield, you follow up with a frail, and you can shut down anybody. It really feels badass to pull that off. In my opinion, it kind of raises the skill ceiling for Brigitte. The one comment, however, I have with this is that it messes up my rollout, in the sense that I tend to use shield bash to move forward a little bit when I'm kind of, I don't know, making a way to point. And I keep doing it even if I don't have shield bash. So I just look silly right now. I do not like to look silly. It's not my favorite thing to do. Okay, I lied. Still, that could be a cool perk. I would like that. Lifeweaver was almost on this list, I know. But let me explain. On paper, I really liked what it did to his thorns. But then I used it in game and, I don't know, didn't feel impactful enough. I actually like his normal thorns better now. Maybe I'm doing something wrong, but I'm skipping it. Lucio, decreased speed when wall riding. Yeah, let's just do this. I actually always use the Accelerando major perk, but I could see me replacing it with this one. I don't know, it feels more akin to Lucio, and you could do it while you're healing. There's like a lot more options to work with it. So let's do that one, shall we? No? Okay. And the last one in this list is Zenyatta. Man, do I love Zenyatta in this mode. It has nothing to do with the sticky eyes, they're funny. But it's the increasing shoot speed. It's like a little machine gun Roomba. It feels so satisfying. Ching, 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 ching. And I don't care that the damage per orb is lower. The impact is kind of similar. But just yeeting those orbs out, so much fun. So I do think this might become a talent in Stadium. Maybe. But that kind of concludes my list. I know, we went through it so fast, yet I feel like we've been here forever. But I'm sure that some of you have different ideas. I went for the ones that I think are balanced, because no matter how silly Stadium can get, especially on level 5 or around 5, there needs to be a limit. Like a melee Doomfist? I know, but no. Let's make a melee hero separately. I've made plenty of videos about that. But the Wrecking Ball changes? Good God, don't get me started. It's just a matter of hitting the right balance. Again, no pun intended. But tell me, which one would you like to kind of copy-paste to the live game? Let me know in the comments. For now, however, that was it. If you like this video, give it a thumbs up. It always helps me out. I also want to thank my patrons and YouTube members. You too can become a member over on patreon.com/theomnicpost and right here on YouTube to unlock exclusive rewards. If you have a few minutes left, maybe check out one of my other videos. But above all, take care of yourself, take care of each other. Bye-bye.